inside the world's largest aircraft carrier. Hello, lovely YouTube family, and welcome back to the
Tech and Vision.
In today's video, we're going to talk about how to make money watching ads. But before I start, I would like you to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. The eminence of aircraft carriers as floating air bases have been proven since World War II. 3 of the world's 10 biggest aircraft carriers by displacement are operated by Asian naval forces, while the U.S. Navy owns the world's biggest aircraft carrier, the Gerald R. Ford class. The USS Gerald R. Ford is the U.S. Navy's newest and largest aircraft carrier. In fact, it's the world's largest. Commissioned in July 2017, it is the first of the Ford-class carriers, which are more technologically advanced than Nimitz-class carriers. It has an improved hull design and weapons stowage, a new weapons elevator, more space on the flight deck, a new electromagnetic-powered aircraft launch system, 3 times the electrical generation capacity of any previous carrier, and a lot more. The Eminence may be the latest aircraft, but what's the largest aircraft carrier? The Nimitz class is a class of 10 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers in service with the United States Navy. The lead ship of the class is named after World War II United States Pacific Fleet Commander Fleet Admiral Chester W. Nimitz, who was the last living U.S. Navy officer to hold the rank. With an overall length of 1,092 feet or 333 meters and full load displacement of over 100,000 long tons, 100,000 t, the Nimitz-class warships were the largest warships built and in service until USS Gerald R. Ford entered the fleet in 2017. Instead of the gas turbines or diesel-electric systems used for propulsion on many modern warships, the carriers use 2 A4W pressurized water reactors, which drive 4 propeller shafts and can produce a maximum speed of over 30 knots, 56 kilometers per hour, 35 miles per hour, and maximum power of around 260,000 shaft horsepower, 190 megawatts. As a result of the use of nuclear power, the ships are capable of operating for over 20 years without refueling and are predicted to have a service life of over 50 years. They are categorized as nuclear-powered aircraft carriers and are numbered with consecutive hull numbers between CVN 68 and CVN 77. All 10 carriers were constructed by Newport News Shipbuilding Company in Virginia. USS Nimitz, the lead ship of the class, was commissioned on 3 May 1975, and USS George H.W. Bush, the 10th and last of the class, was commissioned on 10 January 2009. Since the 1970s, Nimitz-class carriers have participated in many conflicts and operations across the world, including Operation Eagle Claw in Iran, the Gulf War, and more recently in Iraq and Afghanistan. The angled flight decks of the carriers use a Kato bar arrangement to operate aircraft with steam catapults and arrestor wires for launch and recovery, as well as speeding up flight deck operations. This allows for a much wider variety of aircraft than with the stowable arrangement used on smaller carriers. An embarked carrier air wing consisting of up to around 90 aircraft is normally deployed on board. After the retirement of the F-14 Tomcat, the air wing strike fighters are primarily FA-18E and FA-18F Super Hornets and FA-18A Plus and FA-18C Hornets. In addition to the aircraft, the vessels carry short-range defensive weaponry for anti-aircraft warfare and missile defense. The unit cost was about $8.5 billion in fiscal year 2012 dollars, equals to $9.36 billion in 2018 with inflation adjusted. The Nimitz-class carriers have a length of 1,092 feet, 333 meters overall, 1,040 feet, 317 meters at the waterline, and a beam of 134 feet or 41 meters. They have a full load displacement of 101,196 long tons or 102,820 t. The ship's complement is 558 officers and 5,454 enlisted, including air wing. Design. The Nimitz-class aircraft carriers were ordered to supplement the aircraft carriers of the Kitty Hawk and Enterprise classes, maintaining the strength and capability of the U.S. Navy after the older carriers were decommissioned. The ships were designed to be improvements on previous U.S. aircraft carriers, in particular the Enterprise and Forrestal class supercarriers, although the arrangement of the ships is relatively similar to that of the Kitty Hawk class. Among other design improvements, the 2 reactors on Nimitz-class carriers take up less space than the 8 reactors used on Enterprise, along with a more generally improved design. This means that Nimitz-class carriers can carry 90% more aviation fuel and 50% more ordnance when compared to the Forrestal class. The U.S. Navy has stated that the carriers could withstand 3 times the damage sustained by the Essex class inflicted by Japanese air attacks during World War II. The hangars on the ships are divided into 3 fire bays by thick steel doors that are designed to restrict the spread of fire. This addition has been presented on the U.S. aircraft carriers since World War II after the fires caused by kamikaze attacks. The first ships were designed around the time of the Vietnam War, and certain aspects of the design were influenced by operations there. To a certain extent, the carriers' operations in Vietnam demonstrated the need for increased capabilities of aircraft carriers over their survivability, as they were used to send sorties into the war and were therefore less subject to attack. As a result of this experience, Nimitz-class carriers were designed with larger stores of aviation fuel and larger magazines in relation to previous carriers, although this was partly as a result of increased space available by the new design of the ship's propulsion systems. A major purpose of the ships was initially to support the U.S. military during the Cold War, and they were designed with capabilities for that role, including using nuclear power instead of oil for greater endurance when deployed in blue water, and the ability to make adjustments to the carrier's weapon systems on the basis of new intelligence and technological developments. They were initially categorized only as attack carriers, but ships have been constructed with anti-submarine capabilities since the USS Carl Vinson. As a result, the ships and their aircraft are now capable to participate in a wide range of operations, which can include sea and air blockades, mine laying, and missile strikes on land, air, and sea. Because of a design flaw, ships of this class have inherent lists to starboard when under combat loads that exceeds the capability of their list control systems. The problems appear to be especially prevalent on some of the more modern vessels. This problem has been previously rectified by using damage control voids for ballast, but a solution using solid ballast, which does not affect the ship's survivability, has been proposed. Construction. All 10 Nimitz-class carriers were constructed between 1968 and 2006 at Newport News Shipbuilding in Newport News, Virginia, in the largest dry dock in the Western Hemisphere, Dry Dock 12, now 2,172 feet or 662 meters long after a recent expansion. Beginning with the USS Theodore Roosevelt, the aircraft carriers were manufactured with modular construction. This means that whole sections could be welded together with plumbing and electrical equipment already fitted, improving efficiency. Using gantry cranes, the modules were lifted into the dry dock and welded. In the case of the bow sections, these can weigh over 1,500,000 pounds or 680 tons. This method was originally developed by Ingalls Shipbuilding and increases the rate of work because much of the fitting out does not have to be carried out within the confines of the already finished hull. The total cost of construction for each ship was around $4.5 billion. All the ships of the class are powered by 2 A4W nuclear reactors housed in separate compartments. The resulting steam spins 4 propeller shafts, producing a maximum speed of over 30 knots, 56 kilometers per hour, and maximum power of 260,000 brake horsepower or 194 megawatts. The reactors produce heat through nuclear fission, which heats water. This is then passed through 4 turbines, which are shared by the 2 reactors. The turbines power the 4 bronze propellers, each with a diameter of 25 feet, 7.6 meters, and a weight of 66,000 pounds or 30 tons. Behind these, the 2 rudders, which are 29 feet or 8.8 meters high and 22 feet, 6.7 meters long, and each weigh 110 pounds or 50 metric tons. The Nimitz-class ships constructed since the USS Ronald Reagan have all bulbous bows in order to improve speed and fuel efficiency by reducing wave-making resistance. As a result of the use of nuclear power, the ships are capable of operating continuously for over 20 years without refueling and are predicted to have a service life of over 50 years. In addition to the aircraft carried on board, the ships carry defensive equipment for use against missiles and hostile aircraft. These consist of either 3 or 4 NATO RIM-7 Sea Sparrow missile launchers designed for defense against aircraft and anti-ship missiles, as well as either 3 or 4 20mm Phalanx CIWS missile defense cannon. USS Ronald Reagan has none of these, having been built with a RIM-116 rolling airframe missile system, 2 of which have also been installed on USS Nimitz and USS George Washington. These will be installed on the other ships as they return for the Refueling Complex Overhaul, RCOH. Since USS Theodore Roosevelt, the carriers have been constructed with 2.5 inches or 64 millimeters Kevlar armor over vital spaces, and earlier ships have been retrofitted with it. Nimitz in 1983 to 1984, Dwight D. Eisenhower from 1985 to 1987, and Carl Vinson in 1989. The other countermeasures the ships use are 4 Sipicon SRBOC Super Rapid Bloom Offboard Shaft, 6-barrel Mk-36 decoy launchers, which deploy infrared flare countermeasure, and shaft to disrupt the sensors of incoming missiles, an SSTDS torpedo defense system, and an AN-SLQ-25 Nixie torpedo countermeasure system. The carriers also use AN-SLQ-32V radar jamming and deception systems to detect and disrupt hostile radar signals, in addition to the electronic warfare capabilities of some of the aircraft on board. The presence of nuclear weapons on board U.S. aircraft carriers since the end of the Cold War has neither been confirmed nor denied by the U.S. government. As a result of this, the presence of a U.S. aircraft carrier in a foreign port has occasionally provoked protests from local groups. For example, when Nimitz visited Chennai, India in 2007. At that time, the strike group commander Rear Admiral John Terrence Blake stated that the U.S. policy is that we do not routinely deploy nuclear weapons on board Nimitz. In May 2013, George H.W. Bush conducted the first carrier-borne end-to-end at-sea test of the Surface Ship Torpedo System SSTDS. The SSTDS combined the passive detection of the Torpedo Warning System (TWS) that finds, classifies, and tracks torpedoes with the hard kill capability of a countermeasure anti-torpedo (CAT), an encapsulated miniature torpedo designed to locate, home in on, and destroy hostile torpedoes. This was to increase protection against wake homing torpedoes like the Type 53 that do not respond to acoustic decoys. The pieces of the SSTDs were engineered to locate and destroy incoming torpedoes in a matter of seconds. Each system included 1 TWS and 8 CATs. Initial operational capability (IOC) was planned for 2019 and all aircraft carriers were to be outfitted by 2035. The Navy suspended work on the project in September 2018 due to poor reliability of the components and hardware already installed on 5 carriers is to be removed by 2023. And this brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are shared on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. And with that, I'll see you on the next video.